Question 1. Over and Over is the title of my film because of the subject, the overall subject of my opening sequence. I had an idea from the beginning that my title would play off something that is shown or said in my opening sequence, and this line is actually said in the 2 minutes of airing time, so I thought it would be nice to try and show this and then use it as my title. Obviously, you're not introduced to the full storyline through the opening sequence, but there are enigma codes raised so that the viewer has some realisation of what is actually happening. The title, font and style I've tried to keep very simple due to the fact that I don't want the viewer being distracted from what is actually happening of my 2 minutes of airing time, because that is not a very long time for me to be able to show all that I'm trying to show. So I've tried to keep my font very simple and my colours bold but also not too bright, and I didn't put in any effects so that the audience is not having to pay attention to a letter dragging itself across the other side of the screen and changing colour or whatever, so that they can again realise what is going on and later on also come to the realisation that my main character is being physically abused by her father, instead of paying attention to the font and all the different colours and anything else that would be happening with it. My costume and props have also been tried to keep to a minimal, because I can't have my main character, who I'm trying to show is from a lower to middle class background, wearing huge brands like Ralph Lauren or Adidas or anything of the sort. So I just put my actress Aisha Robinson in a white polo shirt and jeans. Again, I guess I didn't want the audience to get distracted by me attempting to go over the top, because then it could become quite cliche and cheesy. The costume wasn't a difficult at all for me to get my hands on, the same with the props really, due to the fact that I was filming outside for a lot of the time and then inside, so really I didn't need to have anything out of the ordinary put into my location for filming. Camera work and editing, it wasn't really hard for me to do, and I also again decided to keep everything to a minimal because I didn't want to go over the top. The camera work, I have attempted to put in some kind of effects where I have a blur here and there, and it reflects the subject of my opening sequence, which I actually thought worked really well. And with editing, I have put in a few cuts where, like when they were going up the stairs and with the door as she's about to knock, and then you cut to the inside of the house. I thought that worked really well. I wasn't going to do anything like that, but I decided it was too simple at the beginning, so I had to put in something to make it look a bit more of the professional standard. This final clip that we'll be playing is part of my opening sequence. It opens up obviously my storyline, and the audience gets to see my character's location, and you get to see her house, and you also this is when you're firstly introduced to the fact that she's being abused, because you see a bruise on her face or you see her crying, and then again this is an enigma code, because the audience is like, oh, what's going on, why is she crying, what's happened? And I think due to the fact that I only had 2 minutes, I think I did pretty well with trying to create a sense of making my viewer want to watch a bit more to see what's happened. I've tried to make sure every aspect of my opening sequence correlates with the typical conventions of my genre, which is social realism or British drama as it can be referred to. I decided that I would make sure that everything I was trying to depict was put across clearly and straightforward, so that the person who was watching it would feed back and say to me, oh, I didn't understand what's going on, or have to ask me any questions or anything of the sort. And from my audience feedback, I can see I again did pretty well with that, because everyone who commented on my opening sequence did say that they knew what it was about, or they knew some aspects of the genre were reflected, and so yeah, I think I did pretty good with that aspect of my opening sequence.